Do you ever wonder how many hours a week you should work as a student pastor? You ever been asked about that? You ever thought about that? Do you ever get your check and think, man, is this all I get? Or get your check and say, wow, I get paid for what I get to do? Today I want to discuss some about a work ethic in youth ministry. How many hours should you work? Where did this logic come from on my part to maybe help give you a better guide? So first, let me say, by my nature, I'm a workaholic. My wife will tell you that I always work too much. I put lots of effort into the youth ministry, some around the office and those kind of things that you're supposed to do. But I'm also the guy that I'll stay to the last person in any event, helping out, just talking, chatting, looking for opportunities to have touch points of ministry. So I've been known to work a lot of hours, and I've had to try to check myself in and kind of figure out, okay, what's the right number of hours for me to work? So I've already been thinking about this and had thought about it years ago and kind of come up with this idea and this formula that really is the right amount of work that I feel like for any minister that we should consider like the right number of hours to protect our family, protect our ministry, and show integrity. But somebody asked in a post on Facebook the other day that I was reading, and I caught that and I thought, well, I could do a vlog to kind of share kind of my heart on this. Now, I understand that summers typically are very different for us, and we put in a lot more hours on several different weeks there. And if you don't have a comp time situation set up, you may want to try to negotiate a little bit about comp time. So when you get off of a week of camp where you start at somewhere, for me, typically I'm starting about 6 o'clock in the morning and finishing about 1 o'clock every night, somewhere in that range during a week of camp or missions trip. In that case, you may want to have some level of comp time, some way either with your personnel committee or your pastor where you take off some days later, a week after or 2 weeks after, or how many weeks you can take after that to be able to kind of recoup some of that time. It's a great time to do some special projects and such around your house if you can work that out with your church. If you can't, you swallow hard and know that God's keeping score and be done with that. The last church I left, I had a sheet for comp time that when I did leave, I probably had 10 or 15 days listed on that sheet. And what I would do if I was going to take a day off is I'd just mark the time, the date that I overly worked or the week that I overly worked, and mark that as a comp day and just send an email to the pastor and to the secretary so they would be aware of why I was taking an extra day off. When I left that church, though, I left about 8 days on that sheet, maybe 10. I don't really remember. I just know I left some days there. It's one of those things where when you get ready to leave a church, you're not going to get them all back, that kind of concept. But to be able to mark them, be able to justify an extra day or two is a good thing from the standpoint of accountability with your pastor and accountability with your secretary. So if you get a church that's going to allow comp days, make sure you communicate that and even go back and date backwards where that day was coming from, because it'll just help there with your credibility with those key people on staff that they're kind of supervising you. Gives your secretary, your administrative assistant a reason for why you're off when it should be a regular day. So we're talking more about a normal week. So what's a normal week for a youth minister hours wise? How would you rate that? I come up with this. An average youth minister in an average week should be working at least 50 hours a week and no more than 60. So if you go over 60, you're way too much and you need to work on that. If you're under 50, you need to analyze why you're under 50. You say, Rick, how did you come up with a 50-60 zone? It's like this. If our church members need to work 40 hours a week at a job, and then we want them to come to church for Sunday morning and a Bible study, for us, being a Baptist church, Sunday morning and Sunday school, 2 hours, and then hopefully Wednesday night, that's a 3 hours. And then we want them to volunteer some at the church, so periodically an extra event brings them in a couple hours, maybe on a committee brings them in an hour or two. So we're looking at our church members to give us 5 to 7 hours a week extra past their 40-hour week. So as a leader, you should do more. So my concept is 10 hours. So if I'm counting church, whether it's Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, I'm counting that as a part of my 50-hour week. But that's giving the church 10 hours plus 40 hours that they pay me. The 60 is because our weeks do go up and down and our weeks do fluctuate. And 60 is kind of my cap that's a red flag that says, whoa, 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 wait, I need to go back and double check. I need to figure out, why am I letting my time get eaten up in working at the church? When that occurs, we need to either back off some stuff or deal with the fact that we're working too many hours. And so 60 is kind of that magic mark as a red flag that begins to highlight that in your life. When I began to do this, I began to realize how many hours I do work. My wife had been telling me how many hours I work. I just wouldn't accept it. And so that began to let me catch, okay, wait a second, I am working too many hours. And so, guys, you may want to double check, look at your hours. If you feel like you're working too few or you feel like you're working too many, this is where you should start. You should start by taking and do like a 4-week time audit. So you want to tell what time you start and what time you end. You want to be honest about those times. You don't need to turn this into your pastor unless he asks for it. You don't need to turn it into your secretary. This is for you to kind of analyze your time. But take about 4 weeks and audit out your time and figure out how much you're really working and the things that you're doing within your time. If your time is under 50, you need to probably analyze to say, what else could I give to the church? Because I'm not giving the church quite enough. I'm taking the lower end here. If it's over 60, you need to go, wait a second, what can I do about that? What can I give away, or what do I need to stop? How can I streamline my time? How can I better manage my time? It could be something in the world of time management you need to be better on. It could be that you need to delegate better. Learning how to give away some aspects of your ministry. Building a program to get other people involved and get them connected to help out in student ministry. But ultimately the goal is to hit somewhere between 50 to 60 hours is a good week for you on staff. And learning to delegate your work if you're working that over 60 hours and learning how to give some of this away. Remember that you're called to develop the people to do the work of the ministry. That's our primary goal as ministers. Many times we want to do it all ourselves, and let's face it, for most of us we can do it better. But the fact of the matter is, when your plate's too full, you can't do it better. And it's better for somebody to do it good and do it well that you're training and pouring into to get them to be better than it is for you to be doing it okay. So look for those people that you can bring into your ministry that you can use to develop and broaden the ministry and blossom the ministry. And don't be quite as picky over, it's got to be just the way I want it. Give them room to grow and expand and put their personalities, their dreams into those things that they're working on. So as you think about how many hours and as you watch this vlog, my hope is this, that if you're working too many hours, you'll begin to figure out ways to delegate or what ministries need to be cut, that you'll be able to better streamline your ministry and get yourself down below that 60-hour mark on most weeks. And once again, retreat, camps, those kind of things, the hours go through the ceiling. But during the weeks that are just normal, that it'll get you down into some of those marks. And if you're below 50 hours, that you'll take a hard look over some things that you're doing and may be able to do better, whether it's spending time with students in a different way, whether it's spending time with adults and developing adults, or maybe there's some things you need to add to your youth ministry because of the hours. But my hope is that as you've watched this, that you'll analyze those hours, that you'll get those in line and kind of that 50 to 60 mark, and that you can use that as aspects of moving your ministry in a positive direction that honors and glorifies the Lord. And so I hope that this vlog has been positive. If you've enjoyed this vlog, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you subscribed. I put out a video just about every week that comes out on Tuesday, sometime around noon. Would love to have you come and watch. I have a heartbeat to see youth ministers continue to grow and develop and be the best they possibly can be, and a heartbeat to see youth ministers do it for life. Thanks for watching, guys.